Welcome to this week's episode of the Big Eyes Podcast. I am your host LJ, and today I have my crying back with me. Shout out to Meelz and the Platinum boy himself, Jeff. What's up, guys?
What's going on, man? I'm so happy to be here, dude.
What it do, baby?
What it do, baby?
All right, guys. So, we are here to, a special occasion, a special memorial for the ending of one of the, the top guy right now. They're they're really leaving while on top. That's
crazy.
Crazy.
It is.
That's crazy right now. So we're here in memoriam of Demon Slayer, ending. The manga ends this last Sunday. Final chapter. It's all wrapped up. It's all done. Let's really just get right into it. How did you guys feel about the ending? Like, let's like cut out the extra stuff, bro. Let's get right into it. How did we feel about that ending?
I do think it was a chapter of fan service. I did think it was a little underwhelming, but I get it. I understood it. I like to see the whole generations thing in the modern day and seeing kind of like who matched with who almost, and the reincarnations, those type of things. Because they were, hinting this whole reincarnation thing the whole damn series. It's just like they go into the, like Tanjiro mentions it a lot. I hope this person comes back and gets to enjoy their life. And I think this was like it was an ode to that. But we could have technically done without it. It could have ended, at 204. But I just think that they decided, they were going to give us some fan service and give us a little something to hold on to near the end, and maybe, something in the future, maybe.
No, I think Jeff hit it right on the head, because I think initially when I read it, and I read I read the leak of it, so it's the end of the thing. So I read the leak of it. And I read it, and I was like, okay, this is interesting, kind of, and was kind of going through it and essentially being like, okay. I don't know. These are all I'm thinking when we were heading to modern times. Oh, it's going to be them grown up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Especially when you saw the last photo of chapter 204, and eventually would have been into chapter 205. So I'm like, oh, we're gonna getting them grown up, all this other stuff. But then you kind of realize that they're like, and sorry for all the honking behind me, Brooklyn. But I think Jeff hit it right on the head of the talk of all the reincarnation through this entire show, because you get to see their ancestors kind of live a life that they never really experienced nor got to live, even through the Hashiras out here fighting for their lives and fighting to keep the world safe. And now their ancestors, and not ancestors, their descendants, their descendants are able to actually enjoy everything that they've sort of done. They've made the world a much better place. They've now their family able to go live in the metropolitan city and have these kind of carefree normal ass lives, and that waking up every morning to families being murdered, and then realizing that you have to go out here and put your life on the line, all these other stuff, putting your family at risk, going through all this trauma that you've gone through, and then at the very end being like, yo, you did it just for this reason.
I love on the final chapter that all their descendants are just pretty much copy and paste of them.
Yeah.
They're like, you know what? We're not even gonna hint at who could be who. They're just like, we're literally gonna give all these kids the same face.
Together. You know what I mean? You can kind of patch it together of who may have married who, or who had kids with who, and those type of things. But and even so, I think they were calling their great grandparents.
Yeah. So this is,
it's removed, quite a bit.
But
which,
no,
by the way, I don't think genes really works that way. They were if you're removed, two grandparents, it's they look fairly similar to, Tanjiro, Tanjiro's descent. He looks very similar to Tanjiro.
Yeah. So
all of Tanjiro's family in the first episode, they all look like various sizes of Tanjiro anyway.
Yeah.
It's Tanjiro with black hair, Tanjiro with Tanjiro with slightly longer hair, Mom Tanjiro, Dad Tanjiro.
Yep.
Yeah.
all of it's clearly very strong genes.
Yeah,
Am
genes
I
are just on steroids.
am I wrong for reading? I'm not sure if I actually got this right. I'm assuming Nezuko and Zenitsu.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
that's what I'm.
That's what it looked like
okay.
to me. Yes, that's what it looked
I
like
mean,
to me.
he got it.
It happened.
Listen, he got it. Listen,
He got it.
He was
He got
going.
He did what he had to do. End of the day, he completed his own mission. So you know,
Yes, of
shout
course.
out to him.
I need to see the chapters of the first dates and the evenings out and you know all this.
Yeah,
other
because it
stuff
looks like Tanjiro may have, he may have scored as well.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
you know,
What's her name? Kano? Is that it?
now.
Kanao?
Yeah. Looks
Shout
like it happened.
one
And
thing.
we talked about that. Sorry to cut you off. Sorry, but now we talked about that at the end of our lookout season, right?
Mhm.
Like, remember when he was just like we were talking about the coin flip? He's like, "Girl, let me shoot your coin up." in the air."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he hit her with the
That was the
Let me
moment.
change
crazy
your life.
game.
Yeah, that was the moment. I feel like that was them letting us know what this was ultimately going to look like. I do think that Meelz, I think you said something similar to this in our Discord. I think 205 will look so great animated.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
it's definitely gonna hit better animated.
Yeah.
I feel than this chapter. I feel this
Definitely.
chapter, like you said, it was a fan service chapter. Like, and to be honest, we could have done without it.
Mhm.
But I do feel when you finally see it, like as a final episode, I think this is gonna hit definitely. It's gonna hit different. I think they're gonna probably do a little bit more, like kind of tie in some past things with like, what the present looks like. But
Mhm.
you know, I feel like this is going to be a great closing episode as a closing chapter of a manga.
It's gonna be heartwarming for sure. I think for an anime perspective, it's kind of different to like when you wanna give fan service, like especially from a manga standpoint. Like there's only so many emotions that you're going to like grab. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like because
definitely.
you want to see this like what's her name? The love pillar and your guy, Jamal. Like, that scene to me was like, being to see that they kind of, I think they owned like a bakery or some kind of like, it's a very quick panel, but like to me that was like the best part of it. But I think when we see that animated, it's gonna bring so many feels just because of obviously the situation, what happened. But so there's only so much emotion you're gonna get from like actually reading something like this, like 205. You know what I mean? Like not a lot of action, more of like, hey, this is what the hell's been going on. It's modern day Tokyo. Here's a bunch of great grandkids from some of your favorite people or reincarnations of some people. I don't.
And I think the fact that it's also like a week by week, like chapter by chapter, we're skipping, we skipped like 2 weeks because of COVID, like all these other things. I think it's a kind of staggered schedule. Once we see this, I mean, I think even I plan on rereading this.
Definitely.
I think once I read it all, I think, it's gonna hit me way better than it probably did.
Probably.
Yeah, I think like what Jeff was saying about how like this chapter is gonna hit differently animated is also because going back to what Meelz was saying, in the chapters before this, like the like 2-3 chapters, you really see like the gruesome ending.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the aftermath of like a very gruesome ending. Of just everything they kind of like what they've had to go through like up to this point, like, and the chapters beforehand, you really just like, damn, like we lost a lot of people, like a lot of people, like there was a very like literally to the last moment of like Tanjiro losing his eye and his arm because he was possessed and all these things, and you just see the aftermath of all that. Then you just go into the future, you see that all that is like payoff for their families to like live way better lives.
And I think that's the bright side of it all, and why it actually happened and why it needed to happen this way, because it was peace and like freedom was foreshadowed the entire time, even though it looked like it was nowhere near close. And regardless if maybe it was a shorter anime / manga, but I've seen people kind of, upset about how many pillars died or whatever the case may be, or it ending in general. But one thing that we just don't have enough of, today in like the anime world and the manga world is leaving on top. you know, and like just being able to like stamp your shit in the history, like, yo, this is what we did. This is Demon Slayer. It's hard. It's damn near perfect. Okay, and this is what we did, and we don't. They gave us just what we needed to give. Yeah, the ending was more of a cool down, and maybe it was unnecessary, but I think it's cute. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's stuff that like we would like to. I mean, who wouldn't want to, you know, see. Well, in Dragon Ball situation, we got GT, and we were a little, but you know what I mean. Like, who doesn't want to see, you know, some of their favorite characters and see what their life turned out? You know, and we don't necessarily see Tanjiro, you know, but I'm just my point is like, you got to see that he got to live a normal life to some extent, just off of his, you know, his family.
Yeah, definitely. And I think like I saw a tweet like yesterday, and someone was talking about, you know, people just want, you know, fast-paced mangas. They don't want like slow burns anymore, like something you have to kind of invest in. And you know, I think that, like, personally for me, is very like, I like fast-paced animes, first of all, because, you know, Demon Slayer is a perfect length. I think 205 chapters is perfect.
Oh man, so
and they tell such a great story throughout the whole thing. Like, keeps you invested and all that. I think sometimes with like, you know, slow burn animes or animes that are longer, where you gotta be a bit more invested in, you can get from a point of you're telling a compelling story to now you're just kind of like making fillers for no reason.
Yeah,
and that's one thing. Oh no, and that's one thing though that I appreciate about Demon Slayer, that even like they even like the filler point, they make sense. They have a reasoning behind them, and you're able to just kind of get through it. And but they keep you invested. They actually tell a very compelling story. Like, you learn so much throughout it. It's not like they like leave you with a bunch of those loopholes or like a bunch of, you know, plot gaps.
The modern day jump, I think it is a big jump when I realized that these were like great grandkids, and not just grandkids. But I think pushing it that far, like from a time stamp, I think it leaves a lot of room for them to do whatever they want with the series next. If that's their, you know, if that's their motive. Like, if they decide to do a prequel or even a sequel after that, at least they have that huge space that they left open from 205, like, you know, boom, 205 generation, you know, generations later, you know, great grandkids. We may not even see them ever again. That's fine. But if they decide to do a sequel, at least they have that empty blank space that they left us. Like, what the fuck happened between, you know, this and this, or like, was there ultimate peace for real, or if they go back and do a prequel when, you know, they want to talk about Tanjiro's dad or whatever, you know, however they decide, if anything. I think it leaves like proper space to continue the series in a way, if that's something they decide to do. Which, you know, I'm not like itching for a prequel or a sequel or whatever, but like, I would obviously be excited about it. I just think that some things are better left perfect. We, like you said, we're living in an age where there's some of our favorite shit has not ended yet, and it's been out, some of it, before we were born.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it's just like, all right, well, don't get me wrong, like, yeah, if I get to watch my favorite shit at all times, that's cool, but I would like to see climaxes and a proper send off and finish of, you know, I'm a Hunter guy, so you already know I'm living.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, and that will probably never end. But in this, now we have this Demon Slayer, and, you know, the manga is over. This, and the anime is we probably got 3 more years of that shit. You know what I'm saying? But I really appreciate that they had the balls to kind of clip it. You know, I think that shows confidence, to be honest.
I think like them, you know, ending the manga where it's at, and now they have all focus on the anime. That allows them to do so much more with the anime.
I know,
like,
dude,
you can think of all the non-canon stuff that they can do, just the, you know, they could really take it sky's the limit with the anime now, because the manga's done. And I'm, you know, like you said, I appreciate them. You know, they have a crazy come up story too. Like, they're, you know, with, you know, that first season, like, bolstered their sales so much and like just shot them to the top of the world. And for them to be literally sitting on the throne pretty much and being like, you know what, let's close this up. Like, you know,
how many seasons do you think that this manga? How many seasons do you think we got in total?
I would say If there are no more
Three more?
movies left,
Well, yeah,
nah,
movies. I keep forgetting about the movies. They're gonna.
if
This shit
they,
gonna be on for 5 more years.
if
It
there are
is.
no more movies left, I mean, they're getting through the next arc. There's not too many arcs in the show. I mean, and they all extend pretty long. So I could say probably we could end up wrapping up. I would be shocked if it's any more than 4, but I
Or
could probably say like maybe 3.
just depending on
Um,
how they want to put their movies out.
yeah, just kind of depending. I mean, the train arc becoming a movie itself cuts out a lot of the things that could have been in the second season, unless they
Mhm.
choose to go the DBZ
I
route
was gonna say, we
Yeah,
still have that
where they make the
option.
movie.
and chop it up. But I think there's a lot of things. Actually, there's we probably, I think in terms of recapping this, we'll probably talk about our favorite arcs and stuff like that. But there's so much stuff that you could fit into various different places, and they fit in so much just in the first season itself. I mean,
Yeah.
26 episodes.
Yeah,
Goddamn.
yeah. You're
Um.
right.
So yeah, I can't see this going longer than 3
I
seasons.
mean, even saying that, that's still 3 seasons. That's still 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm just saying that to those people that, maybe enjoy manga, but don't like. I'm one of those people. I don't really care about spoilers. Like spoilers don't really like ruin much for me personally. But for those people who really enjoy Demon Slayer and they're saying, "Oh, it ended," and this, that, and the third, like there's still a lot of Demon Slayer to get visually, and you. This is really just the beginning, which is weird. Like I just find it so strange. Like it's still the very beginning of Demon Slayer as far as success.
Yeah.
and we just finished the manga, but like there's still so much marketing, and the money is going to come from the anime and merchandise, and all that fun shit.
Tying it back into the manga, what is you guys' favorite? Like, what is one of your favorite Demon Slayer moments, or like just an arc that you could remember from the manga? Because like we're saying, this is personally for me, this manga is gonna be in like my top 10 all time. Like, and it's just that good. But what are you guys' some like favorite moments from from the manga?
So I'm very fond of, and I think we're gonna end up seeing this in the second season, which is amazing. I'm very fond of the arc with probably one of our favorite characters collectively with the Uzui. I'm very the entertainment, the thing where I was rereading it. I wasn't rereading it today, but I was kind of familiarizing myself because I know on my first read through this, I thought this chapter was just hilarious and then also incredibly eye-opening. So I think it happens after the Mugen Train arc, where they decide to go with Uzui because he has to rescue his wives. And he goes to the city where apparently like prostitution is like the wave. And they dress up Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke as girls, and they're going to brothels and they're supposed to be prostitutes.
That's gonna be hilarious visually.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
He sends them in there to get some info on like what's happening to all of the women in the city because Uzui's wives, who he has multiple of them, another like, God damn, is this guy the goat or is he the goat? He has multiple wives and he's trying to save them. And then it ends up being this entire battle. I think they learned a lot of different things about demons. I mean, we've seen the demons before that they just kind of slice their head off. This one isn't so easy. We learned a couple more things about Nezuko gets some development, Tanjiro gets some development. A lot of things. It's kind of one, you see kind of considering now in the grand scope of things. I mean, just in the previous arc, Rengoku, he dies. Spoilers for the movie. He dies. So you experience that first loss, and then you kind of go to Uzui, who by the end of this arc is like, "Yo, I'm so fucked up. I'm gotta retire.
Right, I'm done. I can't do this shit no more."
He's like, "I'm just gonna be."
He loses an arm and everything.
Yeah, what you want to do?
Like, I do paperwork or something. I'm just gonna be a full-time fly nigga at this point because there ain't no point in me, continuing to break my neck and break my back over this thing. I almost died. So, I think that's one of my favorite arcs. and there's various different things. I think just the moment also, and I'm sorry if I'm stepping on anybody else's favorite moment, but the moment where Muzan enters Ubishiki's kind of like place, and he's just like having this conversation. You finally get to see these two entities that have been at war one on one, and then my dude blows himself up. He's like,
yeah, it's like, what the fuck?
and he's like, no. And it's like, you didn't think that this was a suicide mission. This is always a suicide mission.
Foul, man. Foul.
Like you thought this illness was gonna kill me. Wrong. So that's my favorite part. I mean, that's another one of my favorite parts through this entire thing.
I don't know, this may not come to a surprise to anybody, but Dimensional Infinity Fortress. Look, man, if it's, I got to see Tanjiro and Gyu. I think Asaka was the 12 moon.
Oh yeah.
The upper moon. What was
He's
upper moon one.
Which upper moon is he? Is he upper moon 1?
It's I think he's 3.
Cool.
Akaza. He had the stripes over his eyes.
Oh yeah. Now I remember who you're talking about.
The freaking fire, water. Gyu's involved. What else could I mean, there's not, I think it's chapters like 147.
It's 147, 140. Yeah, it's 147. 147 through like 152, I think.
Oh, yeah. He was like I wouldn't say like the renegade one, but kind of like the I think he
had like pink hair.
Yeah. Was he like one of the disrespectful one? It was like, yo, like bro.
He knows his human name. It was like he was the one that he had like the fucking like the tats on his back and shit, like the
he had the tats on his face. He had the striped shirt on.
Mm-hmm.
He fought with no weapon, straight hands.
Yeah, straight hands, all hands.
And I remember who you're talking about now.
He's like super stubborn, but he's like super resilient. I think he had like his powers were, it was it's like straight strength, which was weird for me when it came to like the demons, because like you said, he didn't fight with any weapons, all hands.
Oh, this guy was the guy who killed. Damn.
Because I remember there's a scene in that fight where he catches Tanjiro's sword.
Yeah, he's straight hand to hand.
He catches his sword in the middle of one of his techniques.
Mm-hmm.
When he's doing the his Sundance technique.
Yeah.
And he catches the sword, and I was like, oh shit, like this guy's on a whole.
He had that compass needle shit. He had like his regeneration was enhanced. But really, I liked it because I got to see Tanjiro and Gyu fight side to side. That was really like, I can't wait to see it animated.
Yeah, that's gonna be
a lot sooner than before, because he's the one who killed Goku, I believe, right? Damn, trash. Sorry.
No, yeah, I know.
For you too.
Oh, but no, yeah, that's that whole arc of them fighting all the upper moons. Really, for me, that upper moon battle really should have been like the final boss battle.
I know, but
I mean, listen, I get it, and I've had my quarrels with the final battle against Muzan. Some at points seemed very repetitive. It felt like they took some of his like gruesomeness away.
Yeah.
But I understood it. I understood why they kind of did it the way they did. Just kind of seeing all of them fighting on their last leg and like having to like defeat this like final monster at 30% strength.
Right.
Just kind of seeing all that, it made sense, and I understood it. I understood why they would struggle. But
that Upper Moon 1 fight was something out of heaven itself, man. That last final battle was so cold, and like the fact that he was the brother of the first, like the guy who created the first breathing technique, all these things,
which is
it's just
so
nasty. And no, just that whole final battle is definitely one of my favorite moments. Obviously, my guy Tokido, his whole arc is great when they when they defend the swordsman village.
Yeah.
I love that because how his character is, his head's very in the clouds, but you finally like learn that this 12-year-old kid is an absolute killer. Like he is an absolute just monster. Even the moment where Tanjiro attempts to to fight him himself for him knocking out one of the people from the swordsman village, he's like trying to move his arm and it just wouldn't budge. And he's like, his arms are like tinier and more frail than mine, and I can't even like move his arm.
Like that's my thing, dude. Like every time even when I'm reading manga, I'm like, I also have like this visual, like, oh my god, I cannot wait to watch this shit animated. Like it's actually an awful habit, to be honest, because sometimes it takes me out of actual manga because I'm just like, I just want to see this like done, like because it's so beautiful, and like Demon Slayer in general, like we've seen it like the first season. It's just like, fuck, man, like this is gonna look. I think that's cool.
I think as much as a lot of this is on the creator of itself, Gotuge, in terms of creating this anime. I think a large part of why it's so popular is because of like UFO Tape. We talked about it on our lookout season, but the fact that it's animated in such an amazing way, like the art here is like, it's good, but at times it's like shoddy. Sometimes it's doodly. You know what I'm saying? But then I mean, it is what it is. You're drawing what you're drawing. It is what it is. I think the story itself empowers a lot more than the actual how it looks. If you can get from point A to point B and then have the amazing moments look like amazing moments, I think I'll pretty much sort of settle on that. But the fact that the anime has kind of brought this entire thing to life, and it's a visual aspect of it as well, which is why, to me, the anime is the reason why the manga is so popular, because nothing really, I mean, in terms of the whole, even it claiming the first 19 spots on the Japanese, manga charts and stuff like that. Like, even that didn't come to fruition until you finally got to see it up close in person. And they had that award-winning battle. They had those moments. They made you feel for the characters, all this other stuff. I didn't get into it until I saw the anime, and then I was like, let me continue reading the manga. And then the manga was great as well. So I think you owe a lot to it, and it comes with just the anime being so powerful. It's the same thing for Dragon Ball Z, right?
It's very special.
We're reading whatever the chapter is, and I'm pretty sure the new chapter will be out by now. But we're reading the chapter is, and we're just even looking at it. Like, yo, I wonder how this is going to look when it's animated and we finally get to see it up in person. Like, I think just that. It would be a terrible thing if we're reading this thing and you don't even second guess about it. You're just like, oh, okay, great story. So the fact that we want to see it visually, I think it's always a commendable thing for these mangas. And not a lot of times that I think the only thing that I'm reading thus far that doesn't have an anime as of yet is the Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah,
but it's coming soon. Like,
it's coming. It is coming soon. It's getting animated too by the guys that did Parasite.
Oh, thanks. God. It's gonna look so good. Meelz, did you watch Parasite yet?
Yes, I did watch Parasite.
Oh yeah, that's right. You did. We spoke about it.
But yeah, I think it's a great compliment to at least give. I think this entire thing, in terms of just Demon Slayer as a whole, I think from top to bottom, there are definitely some things at the end, and I think I agree with you, Jamal, on some of the things that you had, some of the critiques that you had towards the end. It was like, yo, I feel like they're just introducing random shit to weaken this. Like the handicap Muzan by the end of the battle.
They know it was hot, bro. They knew it was hot. They're like, we can throw some shenanigans in here and nobody's gonna really.
But and then it's weird because it's also a weekly manga. But believe it or not, that final battle lasted 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
So you're reading since December of 2018 is when I looked it up, where they finally Muzan reached the Ubayashi. Oh God, I don't want to mess up the name. But he kind of reached the house, and it kind of began there. Like, all right, the gloves are off. Let's turn up. So it starts in December 2018. We finally ended like literally like 3-4 weeks ago. So it's about 18 months that this thing is going on. So there's a lot of things that from week to week that you're just trying to get by, and a lot of stories that you're trying to tell. And trust me, they told a lot of stories. I mean,
They did.
but you can do. I think you can do that when you know you're ending it.
Yeah, they must have. They must have always knew. They must have always.
And I give them leeway for that, because if it had been you're telling all these stories and you're thinking and you're dragging this thing along for the sake of an arc, and then it's like, oh, next time, I was joking about it on Twitter. Oh, the Hashira from the future comes back in time trying to warn us about blah blah blah,
Right.
And stuff like that. Like, we shit on Dragon Ball Z for a lot of that, because sometimes Dragon Ball Z, goes on a hair too friggin' long, like the entire Buu arc or something along those lines, and it goes on a little bit longer
extra.
than the Frieza stuff from week. I mean, imagine reading the manga every week for Frieza's thing. I mean, we watched the show and they cover 2-3 chapters in the show, so I can't imagine reading the entire manga week from week, wondering like, yo, when is the guy gonna turn Super Saiyan or something?
Yeah.
Something's gonna happen. When is this guy gonna die? Frieza's been alive for 3 years. I've been reading this manga, and this man is in there still.
That's why I respect what they've done, because the stars aligned. And they were self-aware enough to know that the stars aligned. But you have to, if you don't see it, you can miss it. And they hit it. And I think that animes in the future, whether new or things that may be thinking about wrapping up soon, like I feel like this was a really nice way. They need to look at how this was brought down, because this is very, to me, like the way that this show and the manga was shown, it's very, like, to me, it's so modern. And it's weirder for me because a lot of this shit usually takes years. You know what I'm saying? So just to see it happen like this, and we get the ending, and were there some things that were disappointing? Of course. I think for the most part, they hit everything on the head. I'm really like, I'm happy like for the future of anime manga in general, because I think Demon Slayer is going to show like, hey, we did it the right way. And I think others are going to kind of follow behind this, as time goes by.
Yeah, definitely. And going back to you talking about you're reading the manga, you're like, man, I can't wait to see this in the anime. And I do that a lot too. But to be honest, it helps me like within the story, because in my head, I'm kind of creating more of an active visual than just kind of more some still pages. And I also do agree with Meelz. There are moments in here where they, the drawing, took a step back. There were some moments where I was like, but no, like this Demon Slayer, like you said, it really is something special, because I'm pretty sure, like most of us, we didn't get into the manga heavy until like we watched the first season of the show, and then we're just like, oh shit, like I gotta read this, I gotta see what they did. And they really just capitalized on just nailing it. On now all these people making this great anime. Now all these people are gonna come from the anime to the manga, and they're jumping into the manga, and the manga still heat, and you're like, oh, like this shit doesn't get weak at all. Like this story is still great. And like you said, all the stars just aligned for them. And everything just worked out perfectly for them to like end up on top. Right. This last chapter, I'm very happy that they gave us a very clear cut ending.
Right.
There wasn't a feeling of something is gonna happen next.
Well, so my only issue. All right, so my only issue. Well, I wouldn't say it's in it. Well, I guess it could be an issue. My issue was towards the end. I wasn't sure now, so they kind of faked the ending, right? Like we got a false finish.
They did. It was
because I was like, okay, when you end it, I was like, huh, what was the part of turning Tanjiro into a demon now? Like it legitimately, I don't know
shock value, bro. It was just shock value.
Maybe on a second read, in terms of like, because once again, as you're reading it from week for week, you're reading this thing in segments. You're not even at this point, you're not even processing it as a whole. Like I have to go back and read, you know, once this My Hero Academia arc is wrapped up, I have to go back and read it as a whole because we're missing things by virtue of reading it week from week and compartmentalizing it and segmenting it and all this other stuff. So you don't get the story in the way that it's probably supposed to be presented. You get it how you're pretty much it's presented to you because of, you know, we only can animate this, we can only draw this so much over a week and stuff like that. So you get that part. But I was questioning. I was like, hey, why did we even turn him into a demon unless they were actually going to do something with him? It seemed like Muzan last gasped, but then it also kind of seemed like, but you're like the point was to kill you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're dead. So it's like unless it's laying a seed for something that's supposed to happen, maybe a sequel that happens in the future, and maybe they wanted to keep it a little bit. I mean, you can't really keep it open-ended. He seems like he's pretty dead, but I don't know. You could throw anything in there. I've seen
cyborg demons.
Not even that. Like, oh, one piece of DNA was left. He managed to regenerate. You know, the whole cell thing.
That was my thing. Like that's why I didn't mind it being great grandkids, you know, because they left so much. They left a lot of years to like, if they decide that they want to discuss that time frame or whatever happened, I guess they can.
Well, I think also. So here's the thing for the guy who's running Haru Gotoge, like he's so like that episode of The Office. Jeff know what I'm talking about. He was like, you are so money.
Yeah,
and you don't even know it.
Yeah.
You don't even know it. Like he is so, because of just creating this. Like I feel like you're not gonna limit yourself, at least not right now, to like one revenue stream. It's like okay, because now I'm interested. Now he's written this entire thing. This is his first manga. This was published when he was 27 years old.
Gangster.
He is 31. He is our age.
He's our age.
Gangsters. That's so inspiring and so amazing.
It truly is.
I'm just awesome.
That's cool.
When I take a look at all the great mangas and I kind of look back and kind of see when people actually started writing these, and I'm like, yo, you were like 3 years younger than I am right now. I'm just like,
this was for us.
You've changed the world, and now I'm inspired to change the world in my kind of way. But you kind of you get to see. I think he's going to decide. I think his next one. I don't want to say it might be better than this because I think we hold this kind of with a very strong sentimental value. Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba has become like a new entryway point into manga of this generation. Of, you know, the post Naruto. I wouldn't say post Naruto because Naruto still it's like very popular.
Man, listen, Naruto doesn't have its stronghold anymore. I feel
right, but I still think it's like in this sort of post Naruto generation where they were kind of in this new renaissance of manga and anime and stuff like that. This is one of the main strong entry points into it. Like you can't. Dragon Ball Z is still an amazing popular, you know, manga and anime, but your entry point is 30 years ago. Like your entry point is there. So I think in terms of this entry point of like, let me get into this modern anime, you kind of have to start here, and that's kind of what he created. I think what he creates next, I mean, I'm sure there'll still be little swatches of Demon Slayer in it, but I'm interested in what he creates next because I'm sure he ended this for a reason, and we're going to get he could, you know, you never know, he could become one of the greatest, you know, manga writers of all time.
This is a hell of a start. I'll say that for a first, like, this is a hell of a start.
I would love to see an interview with him in terms of like what he's got planned next to do after this, because it's just like, damn, like imagine, like he is so money right now. Like he doesn't even, like the money hasn't even come. Like, he's got money now, but like the anime, the season 3, season 4,
the merch money,
the movie money, the American money.
You know, I like what you just said. You know, like, hey, yeah, he's sitting on a gold mine, but it's like he may think of it like, you know, I've made a masterpiece. I understand that, you know, the manga's done. Now I have the anime. He's gonna eat off the anime for so long going forward, and while he's doing that, he can work on whatever's next for him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
I remember I was reading in terms of this, and I think I linked it in our Mod Silver group chat thingy. But I sent an article regarding the initial writer of Pokemon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so the initial writer of Pokemon, in terms of writing the anime and stuff, the anime, the manga, the game, they're all separate. Like, they're all separate worlds. They don't really deal with one another. I don't know if you've checked out Mount Silver yet. If you haven't, please do. But obviously, nothing is related to one another in terms of how it's written. The show is the game. The game is kind of like, you know, the show ends up being like kind of a spin-off of the game, kind of, but not really. It plays by its own rules. But the original writer of it intended to end Pokemon, and I'll link to this article as well, but the original writer intended to end Pokemon after the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to end it kind of there, and he had this idea, and it's like this very radical idea. Or was it the second movie? It was something like that. He talked about the second movie too. Which
regardless, it was supposed to be way shorter, right?
Yeah, it was supposed to be way shorter, but like, yo, the money was like, yo,
yeah, the billions.
We're phenomenal. Have you seen this thing in America? Like, we're making money. So they're essentially, he ended up leaving writing the show because he was just like, yo, I can't do this over and over. Like, he's writing the same episode. You're essentially writing the same thing over and over. Essentially, he believed that Ash's journey should have been done at a certain point, and then another character's journey should begin afterwards. And they should continue cycling through these characters to not make the story so just, sterile.
But, too much money, man. You can't.
Yeah, the money was there.
I get it.
I get from a billionaire standpoint of like, yo, why are we cutting in the money right now? But there's also, I think that I recall that story to kind of say there is this sort of artistic merit that these writers have with their art, and they don't really want to compromise it, or they don't at least want their fingers to be, compromised. I think it's a great read if you actually want to like learn about a writer. He died like 10 years ago.
Right.
Oh damn.
Yeah, he died like 10 years ago. He wrote a lot of Pokemon while he was on alcohol and drugs, which is crazy. It's a great read. But,
I saw you sent it. I didn't get to read it yet, but I saw the heading. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna definitely see what this is about.
Yeah, it's a long article, but it's super interesting. It's super interesting and kind of like getting the behind scenes. But I think, maybe I'm projecting this on GoToGay because I haven't read an interview. I don't know what he's actually like. Maybe I'll try to find some translated stuff.
He could be just like us, man. He's a USC.
For real, he could.
Right. After this, but I would like to think you would want to continue his legacy and not just be known as the Demon Slayer guy who wrote 25 years worth of things, and he's kind of see how that. I don't think anything's supposed to last so long. Even Dragon Ball, Akira Toriyama took a break for, what was it, 20 years 15 20 years from writing new Dragon Ball. And we see the Hunter x Hunter creator's health deteriorating, not even able to finish the thing. So I think it's I think he wants to continue to spread his wings.
And why not?
His next one may be his best one. His next one may be the best one. Akira Toriyama didn't start with Dragon Ball. He started with what was that cute show? That was referred in Super. I forgot the name, but he didn't start with Dragon Ball. And Hunter x Hunter guy didn't start with Hunter x Hunter. He made 2 all-time great,
He's a different beast, though.
Oh yeah, bro. He goes crazy.
Just 2 all-time greats. So it's like, who are we to ever like put these people in a box and define them?
Shout out to my green outfits.
Yeah. So all that to say, I think anime fans just in general applaud him for like, yo, you could go for the cash grab because this thing is going to make a lot of money. We appreciate it that you ended it here before it got wild whack.
Definitely. And on those beautiful ending words by the great Meelz, thank you guys so much for coming on the show. Talk about the We'll talk about Demon Slayer, the ending, and what we want next. What's next for the Lookout right now?
Real quick, I'm gonna be back on this show at some point because I want to talk about this Pokemon manga that me and Jamal kind of just been talking on our own. But like,
yes, it's gonna happen very soon, very very soon. So yeah, y'all keep your eyes out on that one. But yeah, man, what's next up for the Lookout?
So the Lookout is beginning next week Tuesday. New season of the Lookout. Meanwhile, Mount Silver is also still going on, long and strong, by the way. So you'll have a certain amount of weeks with 3 different set of content from the Lookout team. So shout to us for doing just an amazing job all 3.
We don't stop working.
So season, I would say season 8. We're currently in conversations to actually end the whole season moniker thing.
Yeah.
It's so many seasons.
Right.
Like, it's just so many seasons.
Going into chapter, baby.
Right. Our new chapter of the Lookout will be covering the My Hero Academia season 2 and all that has to go with it. So we're very excited to be able to do that. We plan to have a formal announcement sometime this week. Just waiting for a couple things to be finalized, but you can expect a new episode definitely next week Tuesday. We're starting it off. If you've got your entire Lookout sort of package, if you wanted the stickers, you know what we've got next. Summer Akame House is coming back.
Yep.
The fall is a very, very big kind of a revisit for us. If you're interested in learning about all the things that we've got going on. And then we've got, other things we've been talking about, behind the scenes, under the covers.
You never know. You never know.
Maybe not under the covers, but
come back, man. We never know.
Listen, man, we could drop a bomb on you at any time. Just know the content can come at any time. So keep your eyes open. Make sure you're tuned into the Lookout RNC page. And if you're just a fan of podcasts in general, you can follow us on RNC Radio Live. So yeah, man, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode. Y'all stay plus ultra. Peace.